just to get a little bit better view of shading and how to create color on your actual optical illusion hand, you're going to be going across, because remember we're working with colored pencils, so you want to make sure that you're using layers and that you're going in different directions so that it's picking up a lot of color. When you get to your fingers and your hand, we're going to make it so it's a little bit darker on the edges where it curves, and notice that our shading goes with the curve of the finger and out and kind of a shaggy edge here on the end. This way that you can see that it blends a little bit easier here in this point with your color pencils, and going different directions will also help blend in where the optical illusion is. So I'm going to go ahead and finish this line, and then I'll show you with my next color one more of how to successfully shade this project with your colored pencils to give the illusion that the hand is coming out of the paper without having to use line along the side. So again, we're going to go back here with our eraser. You'll still see where the line was, but you don't need it because you're going to use that curve that we have going here in order to shade it a color. You're going to take your color pencil, create kind of a shaggy edge of your finger, that curve, and then this part's going to be flat. So that's kind of what your base shadow looks like. Then on the other side, I just noticed this curve isn't quite smooth. On this other side, we'll leave a shaggy edge there, make it flat. Same with this next line, we're going to erase those. Those are just guidelines for our curves. We're going to make that edge darker. We're going to curve. And same on this side, let's curve and flatten. And kind of the reason I want to show you the layer of shadow that we're putting in separate than just shading it across is because you don't really know what the shadow looks like if I put color over it right away. So this kind of helps you see that shaggy edge I always talk about but isn't always very visible. So this is kind of that shaggy edge shadow, the curve of the finger, and then we're going to go ahead and give the whole line some color. When it comes to the palm, I'll show you next, you don't need the same amount really, or the same, I shouldn't say amount, the same, as many shadows as you have in the fingers in the palm, because really you're only going to need to be shading like on the side here. You won't have all these little humps to go over. So we're just going to lightly color this because we don't want them to be as dark as our shadows. We want our shadows to be special because they're giving it depth with line. And line's important because it really does guide your eye. Like we create boundaries with line, and so our eye will naturally see. I see there's like a little pinky right here that I'm gonna have to kind of shade. We'll kind of blend this in a bit. So there's some color. So that's that line that we did with shading. And you can alternate, like if you want to do the next one the same blue or not, that kind of helps it having a pattern. Or you could do random colors throughout the whole thing. I'm going to go ahead and show you the palm. And if you're doing the palm, it's the exact same method, using a shaggy edge to create some depth right here, and then a gentle curve. It's not quite as tight as a curve as you have on the finger because the palm is a little bit flatter surface area and there's a lot more of it. So on both sides it's more of like a gentle shadow and then a gentle curved shadow going up the side of the hand. Do make sure that it's pretty dark though, because especially if you're using a light color like orange, because that way we know that that the shadow will show up. Sometimes when you're drawing, you'll see that there are like little lines forming underneath of it. That's normally because your table has like something on it or carved into it. Make sure that you support it with another sheet of paper or move your paper so you don't get those lines everywhere. It's a bonus of sketchbooks is it's like added drawing support. You don't need to. So I'm going to actually expand these shadows a little bit further so that we can see them. Darken them a bit. You'll notice there's a curve here that would normally have like a little bit of a shadow in it. And that's how you would shade the palm. That being said, that's pretty much the process all the way down. And you'll see what the end looks like here in a second.